Welcome to my class. In this video or in this class, I am going to explain the PCP. So, what is PCP? PCP, the expansion of PCP is pretty good privacy, right? So, pretty good privacy. So, this pretty good privacy is providing secured email service, or secured data storage, right? So, whenever you want to send any message, any email to your friend, generally the servers or services which are providing email service are producing secured email service, right? So that means generally for providing email in secured manner, we required authentication, confidentiality, integrity, like that. Some services are required, right? So pretty good privacy is also providing all the given services, right? Like authentication is provided, privacy is provided, integrity is provided, non-repudiation is provided. I'll explain. Already I explained all this in previous videos. Again, once again, I'll give glance. What is authentication? Authentication means, so generally this service is allowing only authorized persons to communicate each other, right? So generally, which we check, this particular one is checked, especially in email services. This particular service is checking at sender side, right? So whether sender is authorized or not. Okay, na? And privacy means generally receiver, authorized receiver can receive the message. Whenever authorized sender sends the message, authorized receiver can receive the message. Integrity means generally whenever any third party is involved or any opponent is trying to access the information, he cannot change the message, right? Because this particular integrity is checked at receiver side. Whenever after receiving the message, receiver verifies whether message is updated or not. So that updation is called integrity, right? It's updated or not. Based on verification procedure, receiver is using verification procedure. I explained already in digital signature in previous videos, right? Verification procedure. In that verification procedure, they come to know whether message is updated or not. That is called as integrity. Non-repudiation means once one sender and receiver committed each other. So the sender cannot deny sending the message, the receiver cannot deny receiving the message, right? So that is called as non-repudiation. Generally, this is the opposite of repudiation. This is one service. Okay, na? So all these are provided as performing either encryption, decryption, or conducting digital signature. So I have written here. So generally, pretty good privacy is used in digital signature and public key and private key encryptions. So through digital signature, PCP is providing authentication. PCP is also verifying integrity. PCP is also providing non-repudiation service. So through public key and private key encryption, generally privacy is provided, right? So public key encryption, PCP is conducting public key encryption, and private key encryption or symmetric encryption. Public is also called as asymmetric, right? Symmetric and asymmetric encryptions and decryptions are used by pretty good privacy for providing privacy, right? Authentication and integrity, privacy, and non-repudiation. All these services are provided by pretty good privacy. How is pretty good privacy is providing authentication only, confidentiality or privacy only, or both? I'll tell you with different scenarios, right? I'll tell you with different scenarios. Okay, na? So that scenarios I am going to draw here, and based on that diagrams, we can identify only authentication is provided, or only confidentiality is provided, or both are provided by TCP, right? If you involve those two configurations combinedly, then we say that PCP is providing all these services. PCP is providing all these services, right? So we will see first only authentication. Authentication only. How PCP is providing authentication only, right? How PCP is providing authentication only. Very simple scenario is there. So whenever sender wants to send any email message, right? So through digital signature, authentication means through digital signature, authentication, integrity, and non-repudiation are provided through PCP, right? Now we will see how digital signature applied on message. We know this. We studied. We already learned in my previous video. In that I explained what is digital signature. Generally, digital signature is using hash function and public key encryption for providing or producing encrypted digest, right? Encrypted digest. So first, TCP uses hash function. Hash function is represented as H, and this function hash function is producing digest, right? Digest or hash code. We call it as either digest or hash code. This hash code is going to be encrypted using public key encryption. So public key encryption is represented by UT. at receiver side public key decryption is there, right? So that decryption is represented by DP. And next scenario, we are going to use public key and symmetric encryption. That symmetric encryption is represented by EC, and symmetric key decryption is represented by DC, right? Okay, na? So this public key encryption receiving one message as digest or hash code, right? We call it as either digest or hash code. So this digest is inputted to encryption, public encryption, and one more thing, that is key. So whenever sender uses his own private key for encrypting digest, then we say it was digested, encrypted digest or signature, right? So private key is represented as PR. This is PR sender. Here we are using the sender as A, receiver as B as symbols, right? So this is called as signature. Once digest is or once hash code is encrypted by using private key of sender, then we call it as a signature. That signature is appended or concatenated to the email message, right? Concatenated to email message. So this is the message finalized, but TCP is also compress the information by using ZIP software. TCP compresses the entire information after combining message with the encrypted digest. TCP is also applies compression software, that is called as ZIP software, right? Compression software. So this is compressed. The message is compressed. So this portion is called sender portion up to compression. Sender conducted the activities, right? So these activities are called sender activities, right? So sender finalizes chipped message. Okay, original message is concatenated with the digest. Then we say that this particular document is signed by the sender signature, and that particular information is compressed by using ZIP software. So at the receiver side, receiver must conduct all the operations in reverse, right? What is the latest operation? ZIP. Then sender uses unzip software. Unzip software means reverse of ZIP software is unzip software. So through this particular unzip, sender restores. What are the contents now? Sender restores original message and encrypted digest. How can we represent encrypted digest? So encryption algorithm is EP. This encryption algorithm using private key of sender, PRA, and this private key of sender is used for encrypting hash code output. Hash function is represented as H, and this H is receiving email message. Okay, na? From this email message, hash code is generated. This particular hash code is encrypted by using private key of sender. So one is message, another one is private key of sender, right? So how receiver identifies that received message is correct, right? Now digest is in encrypted format. You must decrypt by using public key decryption algorithm. Of course, this decryption algorithm is also encryption algorithm, but which works in reverse than encryption. So this decryption algorithm is receiving public key of sender, because encryption algorithm used private key of sender. Then public is represented as PU. The PUA is used by the receiver for decrypting the hash code, right? So after decrypting, original hash code is restored, right? So this is hash code or digest. So digest is restored. Then how receiver verifies whether the received message is correct or not? Then at the receiver side, what receiver does is, so the similar way, sender generated hash code, receiver also uses the same procedure for generating hash code. That means receiver also uses hash function. This hash function generating digest. So these two are compared. By the receiver, right? So this is also a digest, right? Because receiver is also using hash code. Hash function for generating digest. So from the received message, receiver generates digest. From the encrypted digest, we decrypt the digest, and both are compared at receiver side. Both are same. Then receiver feels that no integrity happened. Then immediately he accepts the message as M, and he also feels that only authorized sender generated that message and sent that message to me, because receiver used sender's private key. So sender can only use his own private key, right? So only use his own private key. The sender used public key of the receiver used public key of sender. Then the opposite key is used by only sender because that private key is known to only that particular person. Then from that he conclude that sender is authorized. Authorized sender only sends the message. No integrity happened because original message from the received message is generated digest. From the encrypted digest is generated the decrypted digest. These two are compared. From that he knows that if equal symbol is means he is satisfied with those because both are matched. Then sender keeps these because sender the receiver keeps this because sender is authorized and message is not updated by the opponent, right? So this is particular scenario. This scenario is producing authentication, right? Then I'll draw next scenario. That scenario is providing the confidentiality. Confidentiality means at the receiving end, he is not using his own private key. Just he uses symmetric key encryption. So from that symmetric key encryption, he sends the message, right? After applying chip, he sends the message. I'll show you that scenario. If you combine these two, we say that both authentication and confidentiality is provided by the particular digital signature, right? Now, initially email message is generated by the sender. Email message, right? This is email message. This email message is initially compressed by zip software. Sender compresses this particular email message by zip software. What it does at sender side is he uses symmetric key encryption. He uses symmetric encryption with the help of one-time session key. Sender uses one-time session key. This key is generated by sender only. But the responsibility of sender is he must inform this particular message in secured manner or key in secured manner to receiver. He can only do one thing, that is, he uses public key encryption with the help of public key of receiver. Receiver is B, right? Public key of receiver. He can encrypt this particular key. That encrypted key and this encrypted message both are transmitted to receiver, right? So this is the message finalized. This is the message finalized. This message is transmitted to receiver, right? This message is transmitted to receiver. Okay. So this is sender part. This is sender part. What sender does? So sender generated his own email message and being pretty good privacy, compressed this particular message. That particular compressed message is encrypted by using symmetric encryption with the help of one-time session key. This key is used, this particular key is used for this email only, right? But he has to inform this particular key in secure manner. How he can inform? He uses public key of receiver and he conducts public key encryption, right? So with the info of PU means public key of receiver, he encrypted that particular key and he has to send that key along with the message, right? So encrypted message, encrypted decrypted message, encrypted by session key, and that is concatenated with the encrypted session key or forwarded to receiver, right? Then what receiver does now? What receiver does here after receiving the message, we must decrypt the message, right? We must decrypt the message and we must unzip the message. Then only from that we can verify, right? From that we can verify. First, we must decrypt the session code because that session code is used for decrypting the zipped message, right? So this particular session code is decrypted by public key decryption algorithm and the receiver uses his own private key. Receiver uses his own private key for decrypting this. Then from this he can restore the key, right? From this he can restore the session key. Then this session key is used for decrypting the received message, right? So this message is be encrypted by using session key. Anyway, that session key is regenerated by using decryption algorithm because sender intimated that particular session key in secure manner to receiver by using public key cryptography, public key encryption with the help of receiver's public key. The receiver used his own private key for decrypting the key, right? He restored. Then by using that particular session key, he encrypted the message, right? He decrypted the message. That decrypted message is unchipped. because zipped message we get. After decryption, zipped message we get, right? So that zipped message is unencrypted or unzipped or uncompressed, right? So from this he restores message. From this he restores message, right? After unzipping, he restores the message. So this is confidentiality. Here we are not verifying, right? Uh, yes, confidentiality means once this particular session key is regenerated by using his own public, his own private key, then he feels that whatever the message he received, that message is correct. That message is correct because sender used the session key and receiver is also used the session key for decrypting. Okay, na? So private key cryptography is used, then confidentiality is provided. Confidentiality is provided. Like this, so this is the sequence or scenario for providing confidentiality. This is the scenario. What initially sender does, sender zipped or compressed his email, and pretty good privacy is also conducting one more encryption, encryption, symmetric encryption with the help of session key, and that session key is also implemented very securely by using public key cryptography. That encrypted session key and encrypted message or encrypted zipped message or concatenated. That message is received by the receiver. At receiver, and he must restore the session key because that session key is used at sender for encryption. He must decrypt it, then only he can restore the original message, right? So for decryption, he is again requiring session key. That session key is encrypted. So that's why he must decrypt and he must restore the session key. And that plain session key is inputted to decryption algorithm. That decryption algorithm, symmetric decryption algorithm, decrypts the zipped message, and it gets zipped message now. And that particular zipped message is uncompressed by using unzipped software. And from that unzipped software, you can restore the message. So in this way, the confidentiality is provided. If we combine these two scenarios, if we combine these two configurations, we say that both confidentiality and authentication are provided by TCP, right? I'll show you that also. Right? Then TCP can also provide because both authentication and confidentiality. Anyway, we know authentication related separate diagram, confidentiality related separate diagram. Then if you combine these two processes or procedures, first the authentication, next one is confidentiality. If you combine previous two diagrams, then we say that then we get both authentication and confidentiality. I draw both one after another and I will combine, right? Okay. So first, what sender does, he generates email message, right? He generates email message. After generating email message, what he created in first diagram, because we are going to combine both the diagrams. In first diagram, hash code is generated using hash function. Okay, now this hash code is encrypted by using public key cryptography or public key encryption with the help of his own secret key. Then only we say that the sender is signed on that particular document. His own secret key, that is PRA. Once encryption is happened, signature is generated or encrypted digest is generated, and this particular one is concatenated with the original message. Concatenated symbol is this, right? Original message. Then we say that the sender is signed on this document. And we can also compress the information by using Z. Now Z is the middle point, right? Even in confidentiality, we started with Z, right? Now from Z, whatever this configuration or diagram that is there in confidentiality, if we attach it, then we say that both authentication and confidentiality are provided, right? After that, what we can do, we encrypt the message by using symmetric key cryptography or symmetric key algorithm, right? Symmetric key algorithm, EC. Then this EC is using one-time session key. This EC is using one-time session key KS, right? Okay, one-time session key is KS. And this by using one-time session key, the zipped information is encrypted. But the responsibility of sender is we must also inform this one-time session key in secure manner. That's why he uses public key encryption, and with the help of receiver's public key, we can encrypt it. So that encrypted session key is concatenated with encrypted zipped message, right? Encrypted zipped message. So in this way, both the configurations are combined each other. In this way, both the configurations are combined each other. So this is the finalized message at sender side, right? This is the finalized message at sender side. This is digital signature. Digital signature is generated. This is encryption is conducted with the particular concatenated compressed information, and this information is forwarded to receiver. Now this is the sender side, sender side operation. Sender side operation. This is the message finalized by sender, right? Then what the receiver does here, once after receiving this particular information, he separately receives encrypted session key and the message, right? And the message. So the first initially he must decrypt the key, right? He must decrypt the key by using public key, public key decryption, right? Public key decryption algorithm, and with the help of his own private key, because sender used private key of receiver, his own private key. Okay, na? Sender decrypt the session key. So after decrypting the session key, what he can do? This decrypted session key is inputted to this encrypted inputted to symmetric key cryptography or decryption algorithm, and that decryption algorithm receiving one is session key, decrypted session key means plain session key, and another one is this encrypted compressed message, encrypted compressed digital signature, right? Digital signature message or signed message. So from this he can restore. From this he can restore the chipped or compressed information. Then what he can do, receiver can do is he must conduct opposite of compression, decompression, right? Okay, na? Then he uses a reverse of compression algorithm. So from this he can restore. From this he can restore the this. From this he can restore this, right? Then that particular what it contains. One is email message. One is email message. Another one is digest, right? So this is hash function result, right? Hash function result. That too that is encrypted. That too that is encrypted by using public key encryption, right? Public key encryption with the help of private key of sender. With the help of private key of sender. Then from the message he can generate hash code, right? Receiver can generate hash code by giving this particular information as input to hash function, right? So from this he can generate digest. Now this is the digest, right? But in the received message, that digest is there in encrypted form, right? That digest is there in encrypted form. Then what he can do is he uses public key decryption. He uses public key decryption. He takes input as encrypted hash function, but sender uses his own private key because that is called as signature. The receiver uses sender's private public key, right? Sender uses his own private key for encrypting. Here we saw here already. The receiver uses his own sender's public key for restoring digest. He already generated digest from the received message, right? These two are compared. These two are compared by the receiver. If both are matched, the sender feels that received message is correct, received email message is correct, and only sender authorized sender sends the message because receiver used public key of sender for restoring the digest, right? And the restored digest and generated digest both are compared. After knowing that these two are equal, the receiver feels that sender is authorized from this particular decryption, and he also knows that there is no integrity happening, there is no change happened, no third party involved, no unauthorized person involved for changing the information because he also used the same procedure for generating digest from the received message, but both the digests were matched each other. One is generated a decrypted digest, another one is generated digest. If both are matched. If both are matched, then sender feels that yes, sender is authorized. So receiver feels that sender is authorized and no integrity is happened from this particular comparison. Then this particular diagram is producing both authentication and confidentiality. Anyway, digital signature is there. Then we know that digital signature is providing authentication, integrity, non-repudiation because sender not denied because sender's public key is used by the receiver for restoring the digest. So sender is live. Sender is live. Only authorized sender is generated this message, and receiver use this. So the receiver is also live in this particular case. Only authorized receiver generated because here this particular receiver uses his own private key for restoring the key. So sender is authorized only mutual communication at the time of communication establishment, whatever the parties, those are mutually agreed. Those parties only share this particular information. So no integrity, no changes happen. Only authorized sender and authorized receiver participated in this particular communication, and digital signature is happened. So that's why authentication, confidentiality, integrity means privacy, integrity, and non-repudiation services are provided through this particular scenario. So that's why if you want both authentication and confidentiality, use this scenario. If you want only authentication, use first scenario. If you want only confidentiality, if you want to provide only confidentiality, use second scenario. If you want to provide both, then combine first two scenarios. We get this particular authentication and confidentiality to PCP. Okay. So thank you for watching my video. Thank you so much.